So, in a poll to see what would be the next arena to cover in this, I guess I call it Arena History Series, it was between the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Charlotte Hornets. Teams that had new arenas around this time, or new teams. And the winner was the Milwaukee Bucks, which have been a big topic of discussion so far this season. I would say, as we're seeing the end of an era crash out and burn worse than Anakin Skywalker, but that's yet to be determined with Giannis staying in Milwaukee. So the Milwaukee Bucks have been a franchise since 1968, and probably the quickest team to enter the league and turn around and win a championship within a 5-year span. And the team's, was it now 58 years of existence, there only has been 3.5 arenas that the Bucks have played in, and I'll explain the 3.5 arenas shortly. Someone said pint. So starting with the Bucks' first arena, the Milwaukee Arena, which is about 2 blocks south of Fiserv Forum. The arena was actually in Milwaukee before the Bucks were, breaking ground in 1948 and opening in 1950, where it became the home of the Milwaukee Hawks after leaving the Moline, Illinois area, and changing the name from the Tri-City Blackhawks to the Hawks. Now not the Atlanta Hawks, so used to saying that. The Milwaukee Hawks were playing Milwaukee from 1951 to 1955 before moving to, Atlanta. More on the Hawks in a different video when we get there. The Milwaukee Arena had a capacity for over, let's say, 11,000 people, but have lost seats capacity over the years, but now it fits up to 12,000. It's been fluctuating up and down, up and down. The arena didn't really have a sports team tenant until 1968 and was the first arena to accommodate broadcasters. One of the newest teams in the NBA at the time, the Milwaukee Bucks, became the next tenant in the arena, of course. In the next few years, the arena became part of a bigger complex that they called the MECCA, aka the Milwaukee Exposition Convention Center and Arena, in 1974. And the arena saw the Bucks' early success as a franchise, really only having their first inaugural year, which was terrible, before getting Kareem, and then eventually getting Oscar Robertson as well. And also held the first 2 games of the 1971 NBA Finals with crowds up to 10,000 to 12,000 sometimes. A quick fact about the NBA Finals. It was never always called the NBA Finals. It was actually called the NBA World Championship Series, and it was played in April, not June, nor July, nor October. Anyways, in that final series, the Bucks swept the Baltimore Bullets, now Washington Wizards, winning their first championship. Not to forget, the Bucks' first official regular season game in the arena, and game of their whole franchise, was against the Chicago Bulls. Actually, I don't think it was the first game in the franchise. I think it was the first game in the arena. Milwaukee Arena held another NBA Finals, the 1974 NBA Finals versus the Boston Celtics. Remember, the Bucks used to be in the Western Conference in the 70s, up until 1980. Game 1, Game 2, Game 5, and Game 7, a game the Bucks lost. They lost the series in 7 games, of course. And it still hurts my father to this day, because he thought they should have won that series and they would have had 3 rings. But anyway, also this arena saw many historic matchups between Kareem, Oscar versus Wilt, and Jerry West due to the Bucks facing the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals a couple of times. Like I said, Bucks were in the West. After moving to the East in 1980, the arena saw more historic battles between the Bucks and the Eastern Conference rivals such as the 76ers, Celtics, eventually Bulls, and Pistons. But it was never able to get another NBA Finals series back into the MECCA, or the Milwaukee Arena. By the mid-1980s, the Bucks owners, which was a conglomerate of owners, deemed the arena outdated, too small, and it was needed for a change. Eventually, 1988 rolled around, and there was a new arena on the block. Since the Bucks left the arena, Milwaukee Arena, the arena has become home for various teams such as the Marquette Warriors, now Golden Eagles, The Milwaukee Admirals hockey team, Milwaukee Wade soccer team, Bruce City Bone Crushers, part of the Continental Indoor Football League, the Milwaukee Dove Women's Basketball League, way before the WNBA came around, because this is like late 70s, and the Green Bay Chill. The current tenants of the Milwaukee Arena, which I call it still, I don't know why, but they call it something else now, which we'll get to later. Current tenants, the Milwaukee Admirals, of course, ice hockey, the UWM, or as I call the university, the Wisconsin State Panthers men's basketball, and the Milwaukee Wade. UWM, Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Yeah. Other events outside of basketball, the arena has held plenty of NCAA basketball tournaments and concerts such as Elvis and Bob Dylan, wrestling matches like the WCW Super Bowl. Now, the arena did go through different naming rights, from the Milwaukee Arena to the MECCA Arena to US Cellular Arena. As of now, the arena's current name, the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee Panthers Arena. Outside of this arena holds the Wisconsin Athletics Hall of Fame, that honors the athletics and coaches who did it big for Wisconsin sports teams, colleges like too, such as Oscar Robertson, of course, Brett Favre, Hank Aaron, and many others. There is no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this Hall of Fame for reasons. Let's say when Kareem left Milwaukee, there wasn't the best atmosphere. And the way it's going, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. It might happen. Maybe Giannis will be part of this Hall of Fame. Maybe he won't. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. I think they'll wait till Aaron Rodgers retires to see if he's going to be put in there. But maybe they both will. We never know. But that's another video for another day. I actually talk more about that Hall of Fame a little bit more. Before ending this segment, the Bucks did return to the arena in 2007. A special game to honor the 50th anniversary of the team, because I think it was the 2007-18 season they did this. And of course, they had to play the Boston Celtics. And they lost that game. Before that game, a duplicate of the original MECCA floor designed by artist Robert Indiana was installed for the game. And the last location of this floor was located at the Oshkosh Arena, the home to the Milwaukee Bucks G League team, the Wisconsin Herd. Old management was stepping down around the mid-80s for the Bucks due to health and financial reasons. The Milwaukee native and Senator Herb Kohl would step in and buy the Milwaukee Bucks from the original ownership. I think it was the original ownership. They actually wanted to move the team out of the city. The Milwaukee Arena was the smallest arena in the NBA at the time, and there was new arenas on the horizons for new teams such as the Timberwolves, eventually the Target Center, the Heat, the Miami Arena, the Hornets, Charlotte Coliseum, and the Pistons, Palace of Auburn Hills, and eventually Orlando Magic and the Orlando Arena, which we talked about in the past, not too long ago, were receiving new arenas. Before Herb Kohl could buy the Bucks, broadcaster Lloyd Pettit and his wife Jean Bradley Pettit, belonging to the Bradley family, who was the owner of the factory equipment company, the Allen Bradley, stepped in and donated money to the cause from the fears of the team leaving Milwaukee. Ground broke on the octangular, what you call it, the octangular shaped arena in 1986, finishing in 1988 for an October 1st opening. The Bucks played their first game in the Bradley Center against the Atlanta Hawks. They lost. But a few days later, beating the Philadelphia 76ers 114-103 victory led by Terry Cummings' 26 points. In the first season in the arena, the Bucks finished 49-33. So it was somewhat successful, but it gets better. The fifth seed in the East, a team with Terry Cummings, Jack Sigma, Sidney Moncrief, but this team would get swept by the eventual champion Detroit Pistons in the semifinals as they beaten the Hawks in the first round. Now, listen very carefully. Keep in mind, the Bucks were very injured. I think a lot of people was injured. But Isaiah Thomas forgets that the Pistons run in 1989 was almost a breeze because everyone they played was hurt. Everyone, including the Lakers. But Isaiah forgets that. Moving on. Other inhabitants during the Bradley Center time as the arena were the Golden Eagles of Marquette, the basketball team, the Milwaukee Admirals, a team that Lloyd Pennant owned, the Wave, and the Milwaukee Mustangs. And I think that was arena football. The arena did host some gatherings such as NCAA Open rounds for basketball, a few notable concerts, WWE, and American Idol in 2010. Originally, the Bradley Center was also meant to attract an NIH, I messed that up, a National Hockey League team to Milwaukee, but that never happened. They settled for an IHL team, the Admirals. Much of the Bucks' time in the Bradley Center was marked with failure, as the 90s was terrible for them. But they did have a few exceptions of some winning seasons, a couple of winning seasons, that the Bucks were playoff contenders, even championship contenders, example being the 2000-2001 season. But the failure, man, those some dark times for being the Bucks fans. The arena saw one name change. The BMO Harris name was added to the Bradley Center until it closed in 2018. They saw a few renovations with a new state-of-the-art Jumbotron, but that was pretty much it. Also held Disney on Ice, too. The Bradley Center quickly became outdated, and there was always threats of the team leaving Milwaukee. Even Senator Cole had plans to sell the team to the GOAT, Michael Jordan, but nothing happened out of that. But eventually, the NBA and the Bucks knew they needed a new arena. But knowing how the state of Wisconsin moves times, that was going to be an uphill battle. The arena was the third oldest arena behind Madison Square Garden and the Oakland Arena. Plus, the Bucks drafted an unassuming kid from Greece, and they needed a new palace for his rising Greek emperor. Now, there was another arena the Bucks had home games, and it was not in Milwaukee. It was in the capital of Wisconsin, Madison. The Wisconsin Fieldhouse did hold a couple of games for the Bucks from 1968 to 1974, and this happened only when there was conflicts in scheduling with the Bucks and other events down at the Milwaukee Arena. Odd, basketball was not a priority during those times, so the Bucks had to go to Madison. But they would also host a couple of playoff games during their run to the NBA Finals in 1971, with games also in 1970 and 1973. The Fieldhouse was actually home for the Wisconsin basketball team, Badgers basketball team, starting after it opened in 1930. Seeing Wisconsin win its only national championship during that time, and the tenure ending in 1998, the Badgers, both women and men's, would end up moving to play in the nearby Kohl Center. The only inhabitants of the UW Fieldhouse, as it's called now, the Badgers women's volleyball team and men's wrestling. Now back to Milwaukee for the finale. During the process of planning and building a new arena, the Bradley Center was deemed outdated and lacked amenities after a visit from Deputy Commissioner Adam Silver in 2014. It was feared that the team would be moved out of the city. Keep threatening it, but Senator Herb Kohl made sure not to let that happen. Over the next 5 years, the Bradley Center was slowly dismantled, seats, fixtures donated to different entities as normal events went on, and teams started to move to different arenas. The Bucks' last game was Game 6 of the first round against the Boston Celtics. Bucks won, and the last public official event was a concert, then closed shortly after. The Bradley Center wasn't fully demolished until 2019, meaning its contemporaries, the Orlando Arena, and others in the upper room. The Bucks still own the land with plans of building a hotel, maybe a 5-star luxury hotel in the future, but more on that later. At one point in time, the former site of the Bradley Center was nothing but dirt. It was also used for viewing parties for the NBA Finals. But after several years as a dirt lot, the landmark Union Live, a 100,000 indoor music venue, scheduled to open this year, now stands on the site of the old Bradley Center. So, the Bradley Center is no longer there. I guess the Bucks got a new arena, so let's get into that. Located on 1111 Bell R. Phillips Avenue on what used to be a parking lot and garage, now stands to Fiserv Forum, Fiserv.Forum, or its official name, which I never knew about until now, the Fiserv Forum Complex Center. Breaking ground in June 2016, the 18,000 capacity 34 Executive Suite Arena opened on August 26, 2018. And it has been the Bucks' most successful home so far. It's probably tied with the original Market Arena, but let's get into more about that quickly. It almost didn't happen. After a few tussles on the Wisconsin Senate floor, the arena was approved in 2015, and by Wisconsin Assembly approved the funding, and then the Milwaukee City Council approved the plan. And all of this came after Senator Cole sold the team to a new and current owners, Wes Edens and Mark Larson, I think I just pronounced his name, for $500 million, promising to keep the team in Wisconsin and build that new arena. Originally, it was supposed to hold 16,000, but moved up to 18,000 towards the end of construction. Taxpayers contribute $250 million towards the total construction of 524. This arena would revitalize the downtown area through sports, entertainment, supposedly hotels, a residential district called the Deer District, with a street in the arena called Herb Cole Way, a tribute to the former Bucks owner who actually passed away in 2023. And most of the surrounding areas around the arena have been redeveloped. It is now the third newest arena in the NBA behind Chase Center and Intuit Dome. And the Bucks are supposed to play there for 30 years because of the lease. And it only has two tenants at the time, one being the Bucks and the other being a part-time, the Marquette Golden Eagles basketball team. Mainly because that place is supposed to be used for Big East Conference games, bigger Big East Conference games, in the occasional Badgers versus Golden Eagles game. The Bucks are not contractually bound to recruit tenants of the Panthers Arena, aka Market Arena, to move their events to Fiserv Forum, so you can know UWN games. Now, the reason why I say this arena has been successful so far for the Bucks. At one point in time, it held a home record of 33-8 in Fiserv Forum. Second best home record, it held its first playoff game against Detroit Pistons. A game the Bucks clobbered the Pistons 121 to, I think it was 121 to 86. I don't think it was 66. This coincided with the season the Bucks had as soon as they moved into that arena, the 60-22 season, becoming the overall #1 seed in the NBA. The first game actually was against Indiana, of all teams, 118-101, first regular season game. That same year, it held its first Eastern Conference between the Bucks and Raptors. Bucks losing in 6 to that scam artist they called Kawhi Leonard. And by late 2019, the Bucks held their 50th consecutive sellout at the arena, the largest in franchise history. And they would continue to set different records when it comes to attendance over the course of 2019-2020 season. The Bucks actually getting the #1 overall seed again in that season, but we all know how that season went. The Bucks returned to Fiserv the next season when they went to the NBA Finals, holding their first final games in almost 50 years in Milwaukee since the Milwaukee Arena's Game 3. It was not the Game 3. Since the Milwaukee Arena. Game 3 of the Finals, a game that the Bucks beat the brakes of the Suns 120-100. That was the first game. And Fiserv is where the Bucks fans got to see the Bucks hold up the trophy after a Game 6 victory of 105-98. Since the arena has opened, the record for wins and losses, I think, stands currently, could have changed since then, at 161-45, including playoffs. That's a 78% winning percentage, one of the successive win-losses in the NBA, and they never missed a playoff series outside of the bubble. Outside of the NBA and college basketball games, the Fiserv Forum has held the Republican Convention, supposed to hold the Democratic, but that was moved to Convention Center down the street. This was during the 2020, and I don't need to go into that. It also held its first hockey game, national hockey game, between the Chicago Blackhawks and Minnesota Wild. Preseason game. It still hosts the New Year's Eve game for the Harlem Globetrotters, and yes, I did get to see this arena with my own eyes, but never got to go inside. But there are two things that I'm wondering what's going to happen to this arena. Meaning, will there ever be a professional hockey team on an NHL level in Milwaukee that can occupy this arena? Wisconsin's cold enough. It's colder than Phoenix. Second, where's the All-Star game? Now, going back, the Milwaukee Arena has held the All-Star game once in 1977, the West beating the East at a score of 125-124. Next year, it will be in Phoenix at the Mortgage Matchup Center. It's a tongue twister. I still call this place the Footprint Center. The fourth time it's been held in Phoenix since 1977, third time for the arena. At this point, you had Chase Center recently, and now the Intuit Dome have held the All-Star game, but no Fiserv Forum, the third newest arena in the league. But then again, the fourth and the fifth newest arenas, the Golden One Center in Sacramento and the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, no All-Star game for them. After a little bit more research, the city of Milwaukee would need more luxury hotels for the elite, and I guess the same goes for Sacramento and Detroit. Well, Milwaukee is a blue-collar city. The city doesn't like the pinky-up elite anyway. But I think Milwaukee's in the process of building more luxury hotels. But I remember the last time Milwaukee had an All-Star game. It was the 2002 MLB All-Star game at Miller Park, and it didn't go as planned. Meaning, they ran out of pitchers after the 11th inning. So, I don't know. In conclusion, the house that Giannis built is probably one of the finest arenas in the NBA. Haven't heard too much negativity about the arena since it's open, as it's giving people jobs in the arena, and has now changed the landscape of downtown Milwaukee, something that was probably needed.